and the media landscape is changing faster than ever. There are newsroom layoffs everywhere. There's consolidation to the rise of AI generated content and shifting social platforms. And for public relations agencies, adapting to this new environment is critical to staying relevant and effective. Ethan Andersen is the managing partner at PSC, and he's here to break down these trends and what they mean for the future of communications. Good morning, Ethan.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on. I spent, almost 40 years in New York television and radio. I have watched it. I was ABC News for 20 years. Walk into the newsroom and there were 200 people. You walk into WABC today, you'll see 20 people. You walk into ABC Network, which is now, they had to consolidate them down to one building. There's about 30 people. It is astounding what has happened to the industry as everybody shifts to that. So is that what's driving so many PR companies also to merge right now? Is it the same thing?
I think that's a lot of it, Ken. You raise a great point. There have been layoffs, consolidations, media companies that are emerging. And so you have fewer total journalists and fewer local outlets that are covering the same amount of news. There are not fewer things happening in the world today than there were 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. And so that sort of creates an impetus for public relations firms to not only build new relationships with journalists, but also explore other channels where they can then get their clients' news out the door. And that means, of course, social media and email marketing and their websites and videography and photography. And so we are now in a very complex ecosystem for how people consume news and gather information. We have people going to sources like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or other forms of AI, where they are actually trying to generate their own information without actually looking at an external, solid source. And so with that ecosystem, with that environment, you have agencies that are looking to deepen their expertise and yet also broaden it at the same time. And that's where those mergers and acquisitions are coming in so frequently.
Ethan, you look at YouTube today and there's so much AI generated content that it makes my head spin. I see a topic that looks so appealing, right? It's like, you can survive cancer. Click this. And then you click it just out of curiosity. Am I wrong, right? And there's always somebody's face like this, like that. And so out of curiosity, I mean, it really is. You click on it and then you could see a face that looks human. Then you watch the lips move and you realize it's all AI bullcrap. It's bullcrap. And you could just go down the rabbit hole and click 50 of these videos and it's all AI. So who's going to stand out among the AI? Do you have to, I guess that's what takes a talented publicist and a good PR agency, right? To get you through all that.
You raise an excellent point, Ken. So in today's day and age, there are no shortage of ways that you can generate content, whether that's video content, a social media caption, a speech, an op-ed, a press release. If you want to spend 5 minutes giving yourself an op-ed about why Ken Rosato is on New Jersey's news anchor for a weekday morning, someone can do that for you. ChatGPT will do that for you in 60 seconds. What really differentiates a great firm that specializes in this work, and really anyone that does so, is the ability to lend expertise and judgment and credibility. And so that means you not only have agencies that are focused on writing and on developing their own original voice, but also on lending their own judgment and expertise. The question for example, a company that wants to have a ribbon cutting event isn't just, ChatGPT giving me ideas for how to run a successful ribbon cutting event, but you probably want to work with someone who has done these before and can say, oh, this worked well, that didn't. That seems nice in theory, but here's why it doesn't work for this specific client. So that judgment, that credibility, that strategy has to come first and the tools follow.
Now, I see the networks and the group owners laying people off from broadcast TV and radio every day. Channel 11 just had a bloodbath. They just lost a dozen of their people who had been there for years. And it's all about money. It's not that these people did anything wrong. They're professionals. A lot of them, though, believe that they could just jump into the world of public relations. And there is a skill in public relations that is adjacent to, but not the same as journalism. Talk about that.
You're absolutely right. Ken, there are tons of PR professionals and communications professionals who are former journalists. And if you're coming into the industry as a former journalist, you already have a leg up because you understand the media environment, you can see how it's changed over time, and you know what's truly of value to a reporter, to a producer, and what's not. And our role is not to try to strong arm people into placing our clients in their coverage. Our role is to help take the things that our clients are doing and help package them and provide them to journalists in a way that delivers real value, and for us to serve as a resource to these journalists. So if you're coming into PR, into communications as a journalist, you have a leg up. What I would say has changed over time is that we used to have some firms that specialize in social media, some that specialize in marketing and advertising, others that do website design, others that do true PR. We are now seeing these mergers because all of these different elements are interconnected. And so you can't do effective public relations if you don't also understand how social media works. And you can't really understand how social media works if you don't know how to structure a website and bring people back to. And so, if you're coming into this industry, yes, of course, journalism experience is enormously valuable, but you also have to have sort of a base level of understanding of all the different points along the marketing and communications continuum. And that also reinforces the trend we're seeing in these mergers and acquisitions like ours.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know former journalists who went on TikTok, and on TikTok, all of a sudden, these people who were like local reporters in name the market 122, all of a sudden they have 1 million views. And you think, what? What? But you have to know the game. And clearly that's why an agency like yours exists, and you can navigate through that. As the agencies contract and consolidate, what does that mean for professionals like you? Because is it just that they all become more powerful in their very specific role as very specific targeting agencies?
So again, great question. I think a lot of it has to come back to a combination of breadth and depth in the work that one does in communication. So everyone on our team has some degree of experience with media relations. Everyone has some understanding of social media, and yet everyone also has their own areas of true expertise that they specialize in and that we lean on for support and guidance. And so in today's environment, any communications agency worth its salt has to have a broad team of expertise and a broad team of professionals who understand the full ecosystem and can partner together to support their clients wherever they happen to be on that continuum. So yes, the firms are becoming more powerful, but also more, somehow both more specialized and broad in their expertise, which is fascinating to see.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, just for people who are just tuning into this, you had a couple of newspapers, a couple of radio stations that everyone listened to, and a couple of TV stations that everybody watched. And if you were PR, you marketed, you said, "Hey, do a story on my client here. Do a story." Today, you have 250,000 websites that people look at, and the idea of trying to reach everybody and get the message out is daunting. I bow to you because you're the professional. God bless you for it. What is a website, Ethan, if they want to contact you for more information?
Absolutely. You can reach us at princetonsc.com. That is princetonsc.com. We are PSC, a strategic communications firm based out of Trenton, New Jersey. And Ken, I appreciate the opportunity.
And I have a whole bunch of cousins in Trenton that I owe a visit to, so I should stop by. I'll come by and visit when I do. Ethan Andersen,
Anytime.
managing partner, absolutely, managing partner at PSC. Thank you for coming on this morning. All the best.
Thank you, Ken.